Hello, this is Abby.
Dear Abbey, this is gonna be a long one.
Oh boy.
Dear Abbey, how do you tell the difference between a new exciting crush and a rebound?
Does it matter?
Dear Abbey.
Dear Abbey.
Dear Abbey.
Welcome to our little corner of the internet. This is the Dear Abbey podcast. I hope you stay and hang out with us. See you in a sec. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Dear Abbey. I am your host. My name is Abby, and welcome back. If you're watching on YouTube, my video is going to look a little bit off. I have been a bit overwhelmed with planning my wedding, getting all my Christmas presents ready because I did a lot of them handmade, and so that took me like probably 4 days of work, and that's just, it's just a little bit too much. And then work, this is like the busiest time for work, and so we're heading into that season, and I've just been super overwhelmed, and so I wasn't able to record a bunch of episodes all together before the holidays, so I just brought my stuff with me, and I'm recording at my parents' place, but it is a little bit difficult because we do not have lights, and so I have my camera, I have everything else, I just don't have lights, and so it might be a little bit dark, so I apologize. We're just feeling cozy, so yeah. Thank you for your patience on that. Well, hope everybody had a great Christmas. I feel like Christmas when you visit family, it's always just up, down, not like in a bad way. It's just kind of exhausting because you're running all over the place, but it's also wonderful because you do get to spend time with the people that you love most and who hopefully love you. So yeah, it was a great Christmas. We are in Arizona at my parents' house. But to get into the craziest thing that has happened recently, which I don't know if I even told the story last podcast episode, but Keaton got in an accident riding his, mountain biking. So he broke his collarbone, like shattered it or something. So there was multiple pieces of his bone broken, and he had to get surgery. So he's been healing from that, and he just basically had surgery, and then we're here and we had to drive. And I told him he didn't have to come, but he still wanted to come and hang out with my family, which I appreciate. But I also feel bad because he's just not feeling great. And yeah, it's just not fun when you have to basically sit around. You can't get comfortable. You are on meds, and so you just kind of get messed up and you have brain fog and all of that stuff. So I feel very sad that he's not feeling totally like himself. I'm proud of him for having a good attitude, and also he is being very honest about how he's doing mentally and emotionally with me, which I really appreciate, and it helps me support him better. I just always think when you have something hard that happens, I do feel more stressors of I feel very overwhelmed, and that's usually when I start to get impatient, or not like I lash out, but just I tend to just detach a bit and just get things done, because I've just been in that mode of getting things done and getting things over with. And I don't know, it's kind of a hard balance between I want to get stuff done that help people around me and so that people have a good experience, but then I also don't want to exhaust myself with that stuff, because I do want to enjoy it. And I think that's something that I'm going to have a hard time with for the next little bit, because I just think when you get married and then you start to have kids, and then as a mom, I'm sure that's a huge thing that you struggle with, is finding time for yourself and just not worrying about making everything so big and whatever. Yeah, but I'm really grateful that it wasn't worse than it was, because there's horrible things that have happened to people who get in mountain biking accidents. And so I'm glad that that's all that happened. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm trying to think back if he had a helmet on in the video. I'm sure he did, but I'm like, if he didn't have a helmet on, I'm going to lose my mind. I'm sure he did, but I'm trying to think back of the video, and if he did, if he's not, he's in big trouble. He's also had to sit out a lot of tennis, pickleball, that kind of stuff with my family. I don't know, it's just been a really good Christmas in a lot of ways, but also kind of a hard one in many different ways. Yeah, it just feels a little bit, it just was like a weird Christmas this year, but it wasn't bad. It just was super different. I just feel overwhelmed. I've felt overwhelmed. I've talked about the past couple episodes, but I just need to cry again. It's like, oh my gosh, you need to cry every week. Yes, I need to cry every week. Pretty much, just about. The best surprise that I got this Christmas, moving into what I got, me. My fiance, Keaton, he surprised me this Christmas because when we were leaving, he was like, oh my gosh, we were like 40 minutes away because we drove to Arizona. So it's like 6 hours or 5.5 hours. And we were already maybe an hour into the drive, and he stopped and said, oh my gosh, I forgot all of your presents. He's like, I'm so sorry I didn't wrap anything, and I totally forgot about it because I've just been overwhelmed with like my shoulder and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, oh, immediately my heart sank because I just felt sad. But then immediately I was like, okay, wait, let's think about this. He's just had surgery literally a couple days ago, and he's just not mentally, he's just mentally been, I'm sure, all over the place. And so this is probably on the last thing that he's worrying about. I was like, oh, that's totally fine. There was an initial heart tug, felt a little bit sad. That's okay. And then I was like, it's going to be fine. I'm really excited to give my gifts that I got everybody. I was very intentional this year. I'm proud of myself for thinking of good gifts and making stuff. That felt really good. And it felt very meaningful to give those. And so come Christmas morning, I just wasn't expecting anything. We are opening a bunch of gifts. I give all of him the gifts that I got him. And then my mom's like, oh, what's this one? And she grabs a box from under the tree, and she was like, oh, it's for you from Keaton. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know that he got me. I thought that he left everything, and I was like, oh, I wonder what it is. And then I started to open it, and then I saw it was an Olive Ave box, which is a ring company, engagement ring company, wedding ring. And I was like, oh my gosh, he's proposing again. I'm just kidding. I got sent like the actual ring, because I don't know if I've ever talked about this on the podcast actually, but the ring that he proposed to me with was a stand-in ring, because the ring he was making wasn't done yet, and he wanted to propose that weekend because it was like the perfect time. And so he used a stand-in ring. And so now I actually have the real ring, and maybe I'll put a picture or a video of it on the YouTube so that you can see it. But it's beautiful, and I started crying, and I kept asking him for weeks, like, oh my gosh, is it here yet? Because I was so excited. I wanted to see. He's like, yeah, I've had it for a couple weeks. I've just had to lie every time you asked. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I've asked so many times. He's a good secret keeper, which is a little bit concerning. Just kidding. So that was an amazing gift. He's so good at surprises. He's very thoughtful with that stuff. Sorry, we're doing a lot of life updates, but for wedding invitations, I started to water paint a little dove on them. I don't even know what it is. It's like there's a green bird. I don't know what kind of bird it is, but it's a cute bird. And I was doing the invitations, and I practiced a couple different like watercolor paintings on it, just because I wanted to add like a personal touch, because I'm only sending it to not a lot of people. And so I wanted to add my own little personal touch to make it more meaningful to me. And I don't know, it felt good. So I started to paint little birds on every single one, and it looked so cute, but it was exhausting to do it because I had to make it look pretty similar because I wanted it to look good. Thankfully, I had a lot of leftover envelopes, but basically I just overcommitted with the invitations, because then I had to paint with watercolor a perfect little bird on every invitation. And that took forever. I don't know why I did that to myself. But then now I'm all done with them, and they look so beautiful, and I'm glad I did. Even though people will probably not even recognize that and then immediately open it and throw it away. I don't know. I really don't know what I was thinking with that, but I'm better at watercolor now. But it did get me better at watercolor painting. All in all, a lot going on. I feel as though my patience has almost reached its limit. Not that I'm going to go crazy, not that I'm going to snap, but I do feel like I need some time on my own, in my own space, to just cry and feel connected to my body again, connected to myself. I feel very disconnected from myself. I don't know. It's been a roller coaster. My wedding's also like a month away now, and so that's going to go by fast. That's going to go by very fast. I feel anxious and excited, but I'm more anxious because the last month and a half, I swear, is the most stressful with wedding planning because you're doing the small stuff, and this is when it all really has to come together. I think I just need to be kinder to myself and actually be kinder to myself, because I'll say that, but then I'll be hard on myself, and not in like a good, hard way, just like actually just being mean to myself. I just need to change my self-talk. I think it's gotten mediocre to bad. It's in that range, and I need to talk more kindly to myself and be more gentle with myself. And I feel like my inner critic voice has gotten very loud because I've been trying to do a lot of things, and there's been a lot of comparing. I've recently felt very maybe out of the loop, or I don't know. I feel like I've just had my feelings hurt like a couple of times in the past couple weeks. And even if it's like small, silly things, it does affect me, and I do get my feelings hurt. And I sometimes don't know what to do about that, because I'm learning that I can be very, very kind to people that hurt my feelings, but I don't know like how much distance I'm supposed to take from those people. This is what I mean when I say I am overwhelmed. I just feel all over the place in my mind. Like I'm going to do some mindful techniques and just be an observer of my thoughts and let them flow. That's what I need to do. I'm overthinking everything, and I'm exhausting my brain power. Okay, so that was a lot of life updates. Very sorry. So today I wanted to talk about respecting other people's lives, beliefs, whatever, especially if it's and these beliefs are not harmful. They're just different than yours. They're not hurting anybody. They're just different, and you think differently, especially because I feel like during the holidays you are with loved ones that maybe feel very differently from you, or they have different life perspectives or religious perspectives, and there's different political issues going on. And so some people might love Trump, some people might not, and it might be polar. I don't know. Like, I just feel like there's a lot of different dynamics in families, and everyone's very different. And so it can be very hard to mesh all of those people together. And after being with everybody, it can feel very heavy or and maybe no one else cares. And maybe this is just my mediator type personality. Like, I want to have everybody understand each other, and then everything will be fine. I just want to talk a little bit about that. And then also how I've been trying to change my mindset about it, and to be like a peacemaker, and also to set boundaries, speak up for myself. And I think especially how to respect and love other people that you personally find hard to be around, or hard to love, or you just are totally different than them, but you're around them a lot. And so I think it's something that I've been trying to learn, because I find it very difficult to be around people that rub me the wrong way. We're just gonna jump right on in and talk about all that stuff. Something that I've personally dealt with, which is very hard and I don't talk a lot about, is there's a lot of people that I'm around that don't like the religion that I'm in, and I feel extremely misunderstood and sometimes put in a box based on how they speak about, people that go to that certain church. I don't feel very respected or care in that regard, or like holding something gently that someone else holds very sacred or dear to them or whatever. I think there's a lot of lack of that stuff in like this day and age. I think a lot of people mock a lot of other people. I just get really sad, because for me, there's certain things that I hold very dear and precious that other people make fun of a lot. And so when I'm around that a lot, that's very hard to deal with for me, because I just am sensitive. I feel a huge amount of rejection, and a huge amount of, I just get really discouraged by it. And so this is something that is very difficult for me to manage. and very difficult for me to be around. And I've definitely set boundaries like to myself with certain people of like, I'm just not going to be good friends with them, or like maybe this is just where a relationship lies and that's it. And I'm okay with that. I find it very hard to set a boundary with somebody and step back from somebody that is not like good for me mentally or emotionally or anything because of just how they treat the things that I care about. It made me reflect because of how hurtful it was. It made me reflect on if I do that to other people in some way, or if I make them feel alienated, or I say something that might mock or disrespect something that they hold very dear to them. And I feel like that's kind of where people get in their own way, and also where religion can get in the way of people keeping good relationships and actually being kind to each other, is because they don't respect other people's beliefs, and they mock it, and they feel like they can just make fun of it, and that's totally fine. And I don't think that that's like a very kind thing to do. I just was reflecting on if I do that to people, I mean, I really try not to tease or make fun of people too much, if not at all, only like my siblings. But even then, I'm like, do I make fun of something that might be important to them that I'm like taking too far or something, and making them feel rejected, or making them feel like they have to close up because something that's important to them is being made fun of or mocked, or, purposely misunderstood. And so that makes people close up. And I don't want people to feel like that, because I hate that feeling. It can be like so exhausting to feel like no one accepts you for who you are and what you believe. Yeah, I just think in this world we need more respect for other people, more kindness. And if someone believes differently than you, that's okay. And you don't have to change their mind, and you don't have to like control how they think. But if someone's openly mocking something that you care about in front of you, sometimes it's good to just set a boundary, take some distance from that person. And I've learned that I don't have to be friends with people that do that, and I can be kind to them. I can help them if they need help, but I'm not going to go spend my time with them, because then I feel like just torn down, and then I'm exhausted and depleted, and then kind of left for dead. And I have plenty of people in my life that think totally different from me on a lot of different aspects just on life, big things, small things. And there's a mutual respect there. And I'm not going to belittle or talk down to somebody because of what they believe, and they are respectful to me as well, or they don't belittle or mock something that I hold very, close to my heart. When I reflect back, I think that's why I feel very guarded around a lot of people, is because I feel like I've just been made fun of for certain things along a lot of the time. And so I'm like, well, then you don't get any part of me then. And that's how I feel. And so I've also been telling myself I don't have to be best friends with everybody, and I'm not like a mean or bad person if I don't want to be friends with somebody because they're not very kind to me. I try so hard not to take things personally, and I try so hard to like understand people, and I'm like, okay, my feelings are hurt, but I'm going to try to understand this person and be there. But sometimes I just feel this pull and this need, like a boundary to be set for myself, because it can be exhausting to be around, like, I don't know, a certain type of energy, or it's obviously damaging when you're around something or someone that's like that for too long, or people that are like that for too long for yourself. It can be damaging, and it can be extremely hurtful. And so I think it's important, and it's okay to set boundaries. I sometimes downplay how much people have hurt me and how much things are hurtful to me, and I try to be kind no matter what, and I try to be helpful no matter what. Again, but where I get lost is sometimes I do feel like I have to be best friends with everybody, and I'm like, okay, well, then I just need to try more. I need to do more. I need me. I need to do more. And I've just realized that I actually don't need to do more, because I'm not getting anywhere like this. I'm not getting through to anyone, and it's not being reciprocated. And so if the respect is not reciprocated, I'm done. Like, I'm just learning that I'm done. Sorry. I think sometimes this is where my mind and my heart are like at war, because intellectually I understand why people get to a certain place and why they think a certain way and why they're acting a certain way. And I understand what gets people to be rude or disrespectful or mock, and so I can understand that. And so sometimes, because I can understand why someone is doing something, I then like almost act like it's okay, but it's not okay. And I'm not going to fix it. Like, I can't fix it. And some relationships are just not meant to be. Like, my brain knows what's happening. It knows, it can intellectualize their emotions. It can intellectualize, and it can intellectualize my emotions. I tend to overlook how I feel truly about a relationship or about a person or about, a certain dynamic or whatever. It's really hard for me to like accept that sometimes, but also just because I can understand it, how they got to a certain place, doesn't take away any of the pain that it causes me, or any of the pain that it has caused me in the past. And I think I do that to myself a lot, where I feel like that is where my head and my heart are at war. So I've had to like reconcile that and reflect on how something is actually really making me feel, and is this good for me anymore? Is this worth it to me anymore? So that's why it's been a weird Christmas, because I've had a lot of reflection and a lot of remembering how to really feel things and how to let myself be hurt by someone, and to not just let people off the hook because I can understand how they got there. I sometimes take it upon myself to fix that kind of stuff, and it's just not my job. Like, it's just not my job, and I feel guilty for not thinking that it's my job sometimes. But then I think, what has it gotten me? Nothing but a broken, bitter heart sometimes. So I think this next year will be a lot of coming back to myself and being myself, not caring what other people think about anything that I believe or anything that I want to do. Listening to less people, honestly. I want to have more of like a quiet life for myself. I just want less opinions on how I should live. And I want to trust myself more, my intuition, and I want to trust like my relationship with God and my faith. And I want that to be the focus of this year, because that's when I've been the happiest and I've had the most clarity, and when I feel like fearless and unstoppable and kind. So that's going to be my focus for this next year. So I guess how to deal with that is, I think you should always, if you notice that you're being rude to someone, even in your head, about something they believe, or you're judging them based off of something, it's very natural. I'm pretty sure everyone does it initially, at least. We can use that as an opportunity to realize maybe we care too much what other people think, and that's why we care so much what they're doing or what they're thinking or whatever. We can choose to just respect other people's beliefs and hold ourselves and our beliefs close to our heart and keep that just as important to you. And it doesn't have to be their way or your way. It's just, we're different. That's okay. And and everything that's important to me can still be just as important to me, because we're different. And sometimes with people that don't respect you, and there's just certain people that don't care, and they make it very evident that they don't really care. And if they do, they don't care enough to not be hurtful or like disrespectful or whatever. As much as I always say, you want to give people the benefit of the doubt. Maybe you've never expressed that you care about something, but sometimes it's very obvious. And sometimes you just gotta set the boundary, create distance, be like, you know what, this is just not a relationship, that we're not gonna ever be close, and that's okay. I'm gonna protect my heart. I'm a big believer in protecting your heart. I've said that. I'm a believer in opening your heart, but you do gotta kind of make sure it's a safe place, unfortunately. Okay, we're gonna do a Dear Abbey. I hope any of that made sense and that was helpful. I'm all over the place. Thank you guys for being patient with me. Let's do a Dear Abbey, and then I'm going to get back to my Christmas party. Well, not Christmas, post-Christmas party. I'm also, just to clarify, I am a very sensitive person, and sometimes I tell myself, like, you're taking everything so personally, And sometimes I can when I don't need to, but sometimes, like, I just really need to distance myself from things and people and whatever. And so It's okay if you're sensitive. Sometimes that doesn't mean, just because you're sensitive doesn't mean you're taking things personally. It can just mean that you are probably reading something right, and some people are just not good for you. So I'm going to try this new way of life, and I will let you guys know how it goes. I will let you know how setting boundaries go for me. We'll see. No, I can do it. I can do it. You can do it subtly. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It can be very subtle. It could even just be you're still with that person. You let things go in one ear, out the other, unaffected. You just got to focus on yourself. Okay, that one's a little bit too long.
Dear Abby, I am calling with a Dear Abby success story. I called like I think a year or so ago and left a voicemail for advice. I'm in the beginning of your like little theme. I'm the one that's like this is going to be a long one. That's me. So I'm calling to update. I guess about two of those things because I left two voicemails about two different relationships. So success story that I did in fact break up with the person that I was dating at the time, that I was their mom and I had to do everything, and it felt more like a care, like a mother son relationship than like a like romantic relationship. So I ended up breaking it off with him, moving out, living with like my girlfriends, and it was like such a great summer. And then I eventually like moved to a different city back kind of where I'm from, and I met someone there. It just happened. And then I left you like, or yeah, I asked about advice for that relationship because he is in nursing school and it's really like challenging and it takes a toll on, you know, him of course, but also like your relationships because you can't focus on them as much as you would want to. So I asked you for help with that, and everything's great. Everything, I've been with him for like a year, like it'll be 2 years next summer. And I just wanted to say thank you for your good advice and Merry Christmas.
Okay, wow. Well, I didn't listen to that one before, but that is amazing. And that is great news to hear that I did not burn someone's life down. I mean, nothing needs to be said. Thank you for an update, because if anyone else has written in and they've actually, even if you don't even take my advice, I just want to hear any success stories. That's awesome. Did I ask for that, or did you just take the initiative? Either way, much appreciated. And that's amazing. Merry Christmas to you too. Well, I guess Happy New Year now. Merry Christmas next Christmas. And Happy New Year. I hope everything goes great. I'm sure it will with this new guy. And that's very exciting. And I'm happy for you. I'm sure he's a big old cutie and a big old softie. Okay, well, you guys, that is the end of today's episode of Dear Abbey. That was a great way to end this year. Well, actually, I think I have one. Let me check. This is crazy. This is the last episode of this year. This has been an amazing year for Dear Abbey. I've had the beginning of this year, I had my No CD sponsorship. Hopefully I get more sponsorships. I just don't have the time to really reach out and do any of that stuff. So maybe we'll see that next year. Don't worry, I won't go crazy with those if I do. This next year, I do want to do a Patreon eventually, but I'm just trying to see how that would play out. But yeah, lots of new fun things coming next year in 2025. I do feel a good energy from 2025. I'll be getting married. Who knows what's going to happen after that? We're probably going to stay in Southern California and just keep living life, keep making podcasts, keep painting, and possibly change my career. Hopefully, I want to get out of that office. Hopefully, my boss isn't listening. Your dreams can come true in 2025. If not all of your dreams, they might not come true, I guess, in 2025, but you can work towards them in 2025, and some might come true, and prayers might be answered, and blessings are coming, and good things are coming, and things are for your good, and everything will be okay. Everything will be good. There's more to life. There's more to your life. There's more beauty that's going to come to your life. be open to receive all of the good things next year. And sometimes those can happen by setting boundaries and maybe possibly taking a step back from certain people. But I sincerely do wish you guys have a great new year and also just have a good start to you 2025. But I will see you guys next week right here, same spot. Well, different spot actually. I'll be back. Okay, love you. Bye.
우회전 taking a ride to journey 눈치 보면서 들어가야 할 때 찾아 나머진 바빠 개설레임 바꾸는 사람 taking a ride to journey 눈치 보면서 들어가야 할 때 찾아 나머진 바빠 개설레임 바꾸는 사람들